Hello everybody, I'm a Rainbow. How are you today? I hope you are having a great day because I certainly am. Triggers have released for grab and this is awesome. The triggers combined with animations make all sorts of nifty things possible. I'm very excited about all of this and I just can't wait to go in and show you how this all works. So I'm actually going to do a tutorial that describes how triggers work, how you can use them, what they are, how you can combine them, things like that. I'm going to start off with the basics and discuss each one and then show you how to work up and use them and get a little bit more complicated all the way through. And by the time we're done, you'll be able to make your nested animations with triggers that let you make your own little flying cart like I'm on right now. This is awesome stuff and I am so excited. All right, let's take a look at the trigger to start with. So if you look on your menu now, you'll see trigger. It's the one with some text right there. So if you grab this thing, you pull it out here, you'll see it says trigger on it. All right, and that's there. And if you've got that selected and you go to selection right there, you will see the first part about the triggers. Now, one thing to keep in mind, these are just like other blocks. They can be animated. You can lock them in place just like any other block. Now, to start with, triggered by hand, head, feet, grapple, block. You can use any of those things to trigger these. So if you do a grapple will work or the hand will work. It's up to you what you decide. Over here it says is shared. This is important if you want everybody to see the same thing. You're going to say is shared. If you want each person to have their own unique shot at things, for instance, then you don't want to uncheck that. So instance, if you had like a map where you want each person to go through and use the same animations over and over, you don't want those shared. If you want everybody to see the same thing, then it is shared, all right? So you're going to have to figure that out for yourself, but once you play with it a little bit, you will. All right. And then right here where it says connect, you come up here, and this is where you have to connect the trigger to something else, and we'll walk through all of that. But for now, I'm just going to pick that big block. Then I select A, and then there's a connection, and we'll go to edit. And this is where you can see the different modes. There are actually 6 of them. All right. Stop, start, toggle, toggle, reverse, restart, reset, and I will explain each of those. And then there's also 2 modifiers for the animations, which are loop and reverse. All right, and I'll try to explain most of those as we go. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to disconnect that because I don't want to actually use this trigger. Back out of that. I'm just going to delete that one. All right. Now, here we go. Here's the different modes. We've got one big block there I'm going to demonstrate with there. If you look, each one has the trigger already just sitting in front of it, and you can do triggers however you want. You can place them any place you want. Walk through the different modes. So there they are, these all represented, along with the 2 variables that can be used. And I'll demonstrate how each of these works. So start, it just plays the animation from beginning to end. And once it's at the end, it's done. You can't restart it. That won't work. So the only way to get it back there is to either play it backward, which is where toggle reverse comes in, or reset. Reset returns it to its start so it can play again. There it goes. And then stop does just what it says. Stops it. You can restart it. Same thing with toggle. All right. Now, toggle reverse. If you hit that, and it's gone through its animation, it will go backwards. And you can just do that. And it's very handy, used quite frequently. All right. So if I go to start now, but say I just want to restart the entire animation, I can do that there. And we've already seen reset. Now, start with reverse. We have to be at the end of travel for that to work. Now we're at the end of travel. Start with reverse. Bear in mind, these are different conditions for each thing. And then start with loop. And once this starts and you've added a loop, it will just keep going. Now, if you apply one of these other modes, then it will stop. For instance, if I do toggle reverse, when it gets to the end of travel, it will stop. There's the different modes, all right? And that's how those work. Hopefully you understand there. And let's move on to how you actually apply these. What we have now is I've got a little animation that I've already built that's right there. So all right, so now we're going to apply some triggers. And a little bigger. So we don't technically need either one of the spheres here, but this is an idea just so a visual thing you can see. So green for go, red for stop. So you put the trigger on there. You select the trigger. You say, how do you want to trigger it? We're just going to use hand right now. Then you need to connect it. And once you connect it, click on the object that you want to trigger. You can just hit A and it will add that connection. And then you're going to edit, and then you want to tell it what you want to do. In this case, I want to start it, and I actually want it to loop at the same time. So that's what I'm going to do there. All right, we've added that trigger, so I'm all done with that one. Let's go to this trigger. We want to connect it to the same one. Now we're going to edit it, and I just want this to stop. So all we're doing there we go. Now we exit out, and all right. Now you saw me connect these triggers up to the block that's spinning right there. But what I also did ahead of time is you can have multiple triggers going to a single object. For instance, if I want to stop it, pay attention to the big blocks behind. I hit stop. I'm using that stop button is also connected to this object. Same thing with the toggle reverse over there. So you see what's happening there. And the reason it's stopping, it's just playing through its animation. It is not looped with that one. But if I hit here, it's looped again. So you can have multiple triggers going to an object and running animations. Yes, blows your mind. It really does. All right, that's it. That is how easy it is to apply triggers to anything. And it's just, you have to create that animation to control it. So part of that. All right, let's move on to the next bit. All right, for this bit, you want the trigger to stay with the object, because right now, none of those, they're all static. And I want this trigger to stay with the object. So the first thing we're going to do is create a group. So I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to group it. All right, so we've got that done. Now we're going to create the animation for the entire group. So we're going to animate. We'll create a start point. I'm just going to keep this simple. All right, there's our animation right now. All right, so we have the animation with the trigger embedded in it, but we have no way to trigger that. So it's right there. So now what we have to do is we select the group, and this is a new feature. All right, you want to press down on the thumbstick and then push it up. And you notice it kind of disappeared, but what happened is you're now in a group. So if you look right here, it says in one group. All right, and I have selected the trigger inside of that group. All right, and I'm going to select that I want it to work with hand or grapple is shared, and then I want to connect it. And now I want to connect it to the entire object, not this here. So I have to get out of the group. So I press down on the thumbstick and then push it down, and then I'm out of the group, and then I can select it, and then I'm going to hit connect, and then edit, and I'm going to put it in a loop and toggle reverse it. So no matter what I does, it should just reverse direction. All right, there we go. All right, so there we go. We've got the trigger embedded in the object and it's moving with it. Let's look at the next thing. Now, one of the things you notice, there's a trigger all by itself. And you can animate triggers. And what this would be good for is if you wanted to create say a pseudo-random effect, or put it out there where somebody has to hit it, or it's moving around so it doesn't happen at the same time. So for instance, you can kind of see it's moving around. And this one I've got the trigger. So if I'm standing here, when it comes around, there you go. Big spinning cube all of a sudden. And it hit me again, and then triggers. Now, the thing is, this also works with a grapple. Oh, I hit it first time. There we go. All right, so that big old cube right there comes down here and spins when it hits that trigger. So keep this in mind. You could use this if you, for instance, if you want the trigger to move out of the way after somebody uses it so they don't spam a button once, that you could trigger it or have it only be there for 1 second out of 4 or 5. That's how you would do that. I am going to do a movable platform, all right, and that you can actually get on, and it's related to the block there, how we embedded that. And this one's actually going to have multiple triggers embedded in it. All right, I've pre-done all of this, but I haven't tied them all together. So I'm going to walk through this step by step. So remember, the first thing we have to do is create a group with everything. So the platform and the everything else, and then we're going to group those. All right, so everything's a group now. Now I want to create the animation that's going to power this whole thing. And I could make an animation that takes it there and brings it back, takes it there and brings it back. But it's easier to start on one side or another, depending on how you're doing it. So I'm just going to start on this side. And we're going to create the animation for the whole group. We'll start the frame there. And I'm going to take it all the way across to there. We're going to add the next frame. I want this to be fairly quick. I'm going to do it in 8 seconds. All right. I don't want it to start active. All right. So now we have an animation that is not working right now because nothing else is going on. But now's when we get it to start. So same thing as before. We're going to select the group, and we have to press the thumbstick down and then push up. Now we're able to select things within the group. Make sure you're in the group. And we're going to select that button right there, that trigger right there, I should say. And we want this, I'm just going to work this by hand. We're going to connect it. Now, I need to be out of the group to select the entire group. All right, don't let that throw you. So I'm going to press down, I'm going to exit, and then you notice I'm out of the group here, but if you just touch it, you'll see you're out of the group, and then you can connect. And then we're going to go to edit, and I just want it to start, okay? So it's going to run the animation from here, go to the other side, and we're going to say okay. All right, now we're going to go back. Now, same thing again. We select the whole thumbstick down, press up. Oops. We're able to select that trigger. We want to connect it. We want to connect the whole group. So we're going to press down on the thumbstick and go out. We're going to connect it. We're going to go edit. And we want this to just stop. All right. Now, you could use toggle as an option if you wanted to there rather than stop. I'm just going to use stop to keep it simple. All right. Here we go. So we've got one more button that brings us back. So once again, we select, press down on the thumbstick, push up, select the trigger we want. We're going to connect that. Then we got to get out. So we press thumbstick down and then push down, select the object and connect. Now we're going to edit. And we want this to actually come back. We're going to toggle that in reverse right there. So we're going to stick with that. All right. There we go. Now we're out. All should be good. So we've got our platform. And if this is working, the reason I have a piece of wood is so it doesn't throw me off here. So if I press that, we're moving. Stop works. All right. So you notice this one keeps going one way and then reverses because it's toggle reverse because it starts again. You could have just had a start and a reverse on there if you want. It's up to you what you want to do. That's how that platform goes. Now we're going to do something really complicated. All right, just like the other platform, I've gone ahead and created this one ahead of time. So, and then these two blocks are going to be used because we have to nest the animation. So I can get one movement, okay, based on each object. So I can go left and right, then I can go forward and back, then I can go up and down. And we have to nest those. And you don't have to keep these here. You can put them out of sight. But for right now, we're going to keep them here because it makes it much easier to see what's going on. All right, to start with, we're going to create that first group just like we did the small platform we did. We're going to group that. All right, so now we have to create that first animation. And we're going to go to animate. We're going to create a frame here. We're going to drag it to the other side. Create a frame. We're going to go with 8 seconds. We don't want this to be active. There we go. So we have the animation. It goes from here to there, and it doesn't come back, but that's okay because it gets to one side and stops, which is exactly what we want. So we're going to go ahead in there now and press thumbstick down and then up, and then we'll select that trigger right there. We just want it worked by hand. We're going to connect it. Now we need to connect it to the entire object here. So pressing down and down. All right. And then connect. And then we want to edit. And once again, we're just going to start. We say, okay. All right. Now we want to go on. I want to do the stop button right there in the middle. So we hit that. We're going to connect that. We got to jump out, make sure we're getting the entire object. Edit. That's going to be stop. Probably get in here a little bit tighter. Once again, we're going to do the last one now. In and left and right. Connect. Now we get out. We're selecting the entire object. Connect. We want to edit. I want to reverse. And I want to go start. Okay. All right, now let's check to see if this is working like it's supposed to. And it is. All right, so our first direction is good. Now, to go forward and back, we have to add another element to this. So we're going to grab this, grab the green block, and we're going to group it. We have our group, our second group. We've got to create the animation for it. We're going to create the frame here, and then we want to go all the way to the other side. Create another frame. I'm going to call this 40 seconds. Should be fairly quick. I don't want it to be active. All right, there we go. So the animation is created, and you notice the block goes with it. All right, so we select the group, and now we have to get into it. And you notice we're in one group, but we've got to go one more. So we do the same thing. Press the thumbstick, press it up, okay? And now we're able to get in to the trigger all the way in. So we're two groups in. We're able to hit that trigger. Select. We're going to do connect. Now same thing. We got to get out, okay? We got to get out one more time. Make sure all the elements are there, and then we'll connect it, and then we can edit, and we want this to just be start. Okay, and we're ready to go. All right, now same thing again. We have to get back in there. So we're pressing the thumbstick down. We're getting in one. We're getting in the second one. We want to go to stop. All right, then we want to connect. And notice there's already a connection there because we connected it one time, but we want to connect it for the second group. All right, so make sure we're there. Everything's selected. We'll go ahead and connect it. We want to edit it. We want it to stop. That will also stop it going forward and back. All right, now we got to get in one more time. And then out one more time. And we want this to be reverse and start. Click OK. All right, let's make sure we're out of there. We are. Now, we have two groups here, left and right, forward and back. All right, so we've got two elements complete. Now we want the third, which is up and down. All right, so once again, we have to take this group and create the third group. And we have to create the animation. So we're going to start here. And then we're going to take it up to the ceiling. Add a frame. We're going to call that 8 seconds. We don't want it to be active. There we are. So we just have the one more set of controls that we have to get connected. So we've got the group selected. Thumbstick, pressing up. You notice we're down to we're in one group. Now we're in two groups. Now we have to get in that last group, which we have. So there we are right there. Selection, connect. All right, now we have to get out. Got to make sure you're out and everything's lit up there. And then once again, we're just going to do start. It's okay. Back. All right, everything's selected. We're going in again. And honestly, there might be an easier way to do multiple connections in the group, but I haven't figured it out yet. All right, now we're going to do connect. You notice there's already 2 other stops connected there. Oops, stop. All right, and then now we just have to get the last one. We're in 3 groups. Connect. Let's get out. Out. Connected. Edit. Reverse. Start. Okay. All right. Now our flying platform should be ready to go. Let's see if we go up and down. Oh, we go up. Stop. Go down. Stop. All right. So now we're ready to go. Now that we know the whole animation is working, you probably want to get these blocks out of the way so they don't show up in whatever map you're making. And that's super simple. You're just going to go into the first group, like right there. And then I'm going to take that and drop it down where it's going to not be in the way. Get out of that. We'll go back to the group. So we're going to go in. Going to go in one more time. Going to select that. We'll drop that down out of the way. Just kind of put them together. Now the platform will work just the same way it was before, only you don't have those nested blocks there in your way, you know, and they're not visible anymore. We got our flying platform working like a champ, and I hope that this will be helpful for you when you create your own stuff. No, I don't want to die. So, that's why I made the thing to keep the... All right, there we go, everybody. All right, I'm a Rainbow. Y'all be good. Bye now. Awesome.